Christian Bale or Robert Downey Jr.?
Ooh, Christian Bale.
Christian Bale or Hugh Jackman?
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome to the most overrated, underappreciated, most viewed, underviewed podcast of all time. Welcome to the Prince of Fresh Air. I'm, of course, your host, the beloved, the most charismatic man in entertainment. Beat that, Jason Momoa. That's right, I'm coming for you. Anyway, I hope everybody's having a great day, having a great week so far. This episode is not about me because I'm interviewing somebody who I'm looking forward to having a conversation with. Now, you might be wondering, who am I talking to today? Well, no need to fear because the most charismatic man is here to give you that answer. So, originally from Arkansas, he is a Los Angeles based artist, actor, and content creator. That's right, he's all three, triple threat. He graduated from Harding University, has done numerous independent films and student films. You can find him painting murals across LA and creating commission artwork for clients around the world. Currently studying at Groundlings. Please help me introduce and join in the podcast, Nate Mays. Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, Percy. Yeah, happy to be here.
So let's, I usually everybody always starts with how did you get into act and how did you get into artists? But scratch that. How do you go from Arkansas to LA? How was that big transition? Because I'm from New York. I lived in LA for a while, but how was that transition for you, especially pursuing the arts?
Yeah, it's a culture shock for sure. I knew it. I needed to be, in the capital of where film takes place to really, I had big dreams to chase, and I was very limited to my resources, being in the South in Arkansas, and so yeah, I made the big move. It's something I had to do in order to pursue my career to the the highest that I could. So yeah, it was a culture shock for sure. But I had some people here. I had my dad here, so I visited here a couple times. So I already kind of got the vibe. But yeah, I really had to rebuild my community and just kind of start from zero. I mean, I had experience in theater and everything, but as far as the film industry, I was a fish out of water. So it was fun, exciting, terrifying, all of the above.
Yeah, I come from theater world. I'm Shakespeare trained for 10 years, so I know how much of a big transition it is from doing local theater. For me, I was doing theater all over the place, but to go from that to the big leagues, right? So for you, let's as we talk about that, because theater acting, a lot of people I've talked to a lot of people on the show about this, but for you, there's very few people we hear coming from like a smaller place like Arkansas and doing acting is usually fellow New Yorkers, LA people, Miami, from the big cities. For you, what was the biggest change for you when you moved to LA in terms of acting? Was it the massive amount of opportunities? Was it the fact that maybe, the days of doing local community theater was, if you're trying to make money in LA, you typically want to do the TV shows and movies. So for you, when you moved to LA, was there a big shift in your game plan on how you approach the arts?
Yeah, I would say, marketing myself was something new. I mean, I was fresh out of college. I never really had to market myself. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't that hard for me to get the leading roles in the plays I did in high school, college. And, um, it was just, the reward was easier to obtain.
Yeah.
And then I got here, and it's like, oh, you got to really fight for it. You're in a pool full of hundreds, thousands of people who want the same thing. So you have to really, I had to really work on myself, my individuality, and like, what do I bring to the table? I'm not just a good looking guy who can act anymore. Like there's a lot more to it, so
Yeah.
really learning how to stand out, how to market myself, was huge, and something I'm still, I'm growing and learning to do.
Yeah, it takes a while. Trust me. We're both young guys in the industry. It takes a while. Luckily I've been able to find it a little earlier than others, but that's just the name of the game, especially in LA. I love LA. I will always have a fond place. I will always move back if I could. But LA is a very different beast. Now, as we talk about this though, how did you actually get into acting and doing being an artist and creating murals? Because most of the time actors, we need a side hustle. Some people will do this as a side hustle, but other people, they use that as an avenue to express their creative freedom. For you, was that the path when you did acting first and then you got into artists, or were they both simultaneously?
I've always been an artist. Yeah, that so acting was later on. Acting was like just something I like to do to express myself. But I've always been an artist. I was gonna, I thought that's what I wanted to do. That's what my dad's a professional portrait artist, and so I kind of wanted to follow in his footsteps. But then I realized I'm a lot more extroverted. I like to be around people, and so but I'm learning. I'm kind of, my art is kind of separately growing. I like to do murals. I'm a muralist, so that's been it's fun. When I get really annoyed with the film industry and things are slow, things aren't happening. You've heard all the negativity, but
Mhm.
so I kind of escape to my art, and I like to find a wall, and whether it's for like a commission piece or just for myself, kind of keeps me grounded. So yeah, I guess to answer your question, I've always been a painter, and then acting is just something I kind of just decided. Okay, I want this to be my end goal, my passion.
So you trying to be the modern day Bob Ross? No, I'm just
Sure.
How hard is it to do? Because I met one person when I was in LA. I met one person who did like mural style, but he was more like doing it in a collaboration with a bunch of artists. How much work goes into that? Because people see it and it's admirable. People always want to take photos and stuff. But how much work actually goes into not only designing it, but actually creating it on, whatever canvas that you're using?
I think it's different for every artist. Um, I think you learn to work really fast with experience. I can remember, some of my first early on murals took me, weeks. And you pick up things along the way. So now, I do spray paint, mostly. And so I have like a system. I have I get the supplies list, what I need from the client, and I go for it. So I'm doing like a 25 by 25-foot mural in a week or so, and spray paint. That's probably going to take me 4 to 6 days. So I
Wow.
work pretty fast. Yeah. But yeah, so you pick up things. It's like acting, it's like your first audition versus what your auditions you do now. It's you pick up things, you get an act for it, and yeah, things are more smooth.
You brought up a good point because I was actually going to ask you that, acting because they are creative arts. They're both creative. They both take a lot of time and dedication and learning the craft. So for you, like, because I started this podcast during the pandemic, like you said, when acting was slow, just waiting for the next opportunity, next audition to just come through the email. For you, how do they blend together? How does that make you a better artist?
I guess just being um, yeah, just the drive. I mean, you really learn what it means to be a starving artist sometimes, and
Yeah.
then sometimes you're doing really good. You're getting commissions, and so they work. They're very similar, like the um, yeah. It depends on the month. Like right now, I'm really busy with painting, and film is kind of slow. We're kind of dipping into October, November. It's going to get real slow in December. So So yeah, it's yes, based on the time and just you just don't know. It's not, you don't have a 401k. It's not a 9 to 5. So it's a little but I kind of like living in that zone. I know I have a bunch of buddies that are like, man, I don't know how you do it. And I'm like, I don't know. It's like that. It's kind of exciting for me, not having a firm idea of what my paycheck is going to be, because I know I'm going to be okay because I work hard, I'm determined, and I believe in myself. So that's carried me this far, and I know it'll continue to do so.
Right. How do you stay positive during these times when the industry is slow? The auditions are slowing down because for some people to use it as a way to grow themselves, work on other things. Other people they get depressed. They feel like time is slipping. How do you stay motivated? Is it using art or is it other things that you do to kind of keep your peace centered?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, there's various things that I do to keep my mental health aligned, whether it's meditation, working out, um, going to the woods. I like camping a lot. So I do, and I do a lot of grounding work, because for me, it's just, as long as I keep this sane and, on track, then everything else kind of falls into place. Obviously it's easier said than done, but yeah, I guess just like how I view myself. And I say that because I had to learn the hard way. Like as an actor, you kind of learn that authenticity is how you grow a career. It's how you become anything. It's being authentic with yourself. And so realizing that I am enough, like I have what it takes. I can, myself is enough, can get me to the highest extent I want to go. I think the more I lean into that, the easier it is to just, succeed in this really wild and messed up industry.
Trust me, it is a wild and messed up industry. And this, I've had a conversation recently with a couple directors and other actors about this, who are in the industry. The industry is in a weird time right now. With AI, everybody's complaining about that. Everybody got opinion on that. A lot of agencies are closing. A lot of managers are closing doors. A lot of people can't sustain themselves in this industry like they used to. And there's just other changes going on with SAG-AFTRA and stuff. How do you feel about the current state of the entertainment industry? Like, do you feel like, LA? I still know a decent amount of LA actors, and they always complain about the commercial work out there. Everything is non-union, everything's low pay, so blah blah blah. Now we have Atlanta. Marvel is moving some of their headquarters overseas. How do you feel about the current state of the industry?
I mean, to be realistic, like, yeah, it's not the best. I tend to be probably more optimistic about things. Maybe because I have to be, as an actor, you kind of have to just like have your head in the clouds sometimes. But no, I mean, it's frustrating. I just got off the phone with my manager a couple of days ago. She wants me to do more vertical short films. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, it's the scripts are so terrible. But but I'm open to, what I'm open to things to a certain extent. So I'm optimistic about the future, even though things are, there's just so many questions that we don't have answered right now, especially with AI. They have AI commercials, they have AI animations coming out. Like, commercials are really nice. They pay the bills. They can open doors. I'm not really, because that's not really in goal for me. I don't really beat myself up over it too much, because I still get a lot of commercial auditions and callbacks, and I book some. That definitely more scarce. The last 6 months, just so many different things changing all at once. So yeah, I try to be optimistic. Like, I'm not worried at the end of the day. Like, I back to the authenticity thing. And this is what my coach, who's a working actress, says. We're in a really interesting time, because where the industry as a whole is really lacking authenticity. Everyone's trying to be someone else, everyone is trying to really like shove themselves through the door with all these unanswered questions with AI and everything else. So, and I kind of see that, just being on set more and what I watch on TV, it's just Quentin Tarantino was talking about how just weird it is. So, but that gives me optimism as for myself, because I know I'm going to be my authentic self. And I know, once the doors start to open, once they have been very slowly, then I can show them, hey, this is what I can do. And they're going to want me, not trying to sound egotistical, but because of the situation where we're in, like, I think the industry is really hungry for actors that want to be actors, not just influencers. Nothing against influencers, but like people that really have a passion for the arts. I think that's where we're headed.
See, you make a good point, and I was talking to a buddy about this a couple weeks ago, where I've had the privilege, especially last year, I was getting auditioned for major movies like crazy, and a couple of them, highest lowest with Denzel and Adam Sandler's Happy Gilmore too. I lost those roles to celebrities, right? And we often hear other actors complain about that, where it's like, okay, I get it from a business standpoint. You want the bigger names, you want the household names, people that's going to drive the box office numbers up. But at the same time, too, we're seeing some of these TikTok stars, social media influencers get roles that we deserve. We're seeing celebrities that may not even be right for the role, who would 10 years ago, you would never see, certain celebrities sniffing a co-star role. Now
Oh yeah.
they're just taking them all up now. I think we're at a weird time now where everybody's trying to make a buck. And it's unfortunate that unless you have a name, you're gonna be competing with the John Cena's and the Damson Idris and the Michael B. Jordans of the world, because everybody needs a paycheck. So how do you stay positive? Because for me, I'm optimist just like you. Like, I've been doing this since I was 14. So for me, this is all I know. How do you stay positive, especially in LA where everything is keeping up with the Joneses? You got to look a certain way, you got to come across as a certain way. How do you stay positive and don't let the other stuff affect how you go about your life day to day?
Well, besides the spiritual work that I mentioned, which that goes a long way for me, I have to create my own content. Like that really gets the fire going. I have to stay in class, and I have to be doing something. Like, if it's like Happy Gilmore, you lost that role. It's so frustrating when you have those opportunities and then you see who gets it and you're like, what? Like I'm sure they might be the most talented actor, but it's just like why are the A-listers coming down to me? Like it is very frustrating. It's very frustrating. And don't even get me started about the influencers filling the gaps too. Just followers go a long way. And anyway, yeah, it's, again, let's stay optimistic, not put our minds in the gutter. But yeah, it's frustrating. But what was I saying? Just staying positive. Oh yeah, creating my own content, creating my own short films, writing my own scripts, getting with a bunch of really talented, like-minded creatives who are also frustrated with what's going on, and be like, hey, let's just pour our heart and soul into this project because we know it's going to be good because we're all working on it. We don't have to go through anyone else besides, getting funding and all that. So that's how, especially this year, that's how I've stayed positive. Just creating my own content, being passionate on projects that I can write my own story or have someone that I know, that I can be really transparent and have a say in how the story goes. That's really fun. Otherwise, I've even talked to, like A-listers on the call sheet, people that are on the top of the call sheet, that they've gave me that same advice when I first got started is like, you can be at the top of the call sheet, but if you're not creating your own art, it's really hard to stay passionate. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fair point because we're seasonal workers. We're not W-2 employees. We're not having a steady paycheck unless you're a Denzel or somebody of that nature who's just getting money from all avenues. You have to be able to maneuver and do certain things. And that's why for me, I often tell people, I did a interview with I think it was Bold Journey. I can't remember. It's been so many, but I did a piece where I talked about how so many actors they come into this business, and don't get me wrong, I was the same way when I first started. All you want to do is TV and film, but then you think voiceover work. Not only is it rewarding, but it pays well. Commercial work
Hmm.
absolutely pays well. You have industrials, you have radio, print, everything. There's so many things we can do if you don't want to create your own work that you can invest in, learn the business of, and do that as well. And so many people don't want to do that because I think here's my idea. I think more people want to be the A-list celebrity than a working actor. They want the name recognition. They want the money that comes with being a Robert Downey Jr. But this work that has to get you have to put in to get to those points. And I think everybody's goal in this business is different, but I often say like you said, you have to stay fluid. And I think more people are doing, like you said, they're creating their own work. But I think one of the biggest reasons why people are doing it is because of social media. Social media is playing a big part in this industry, as we all seen. For you, has social media been something that you had to learn to utilize to your own advantage, not only in the artist world, but in acting as well?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I for so many years, I well, I've been in LA for 4 years, but I kind of always knew that really helps with any type of business you're doing. But I really just neglected to use it. I was using it for personal use, and I see all my friends kind of posting, BTS, and it's something I just put off for so long, because it really I just didn't want to do it. I just didn't want to do it. And finally, I hired a publicist, which got me in contact with you. Um, a wonderful publicist, and he really has coached me on social media and just showing what content I should put out there. And sure enough, it's not that painful for me anymore because I have a lot more content to post than when I did. It's easier when you have the content. I'm doing modeling gigs and stuff like that, so I have photos and stuff to post. But I've been posting a lot more, and it's gotten me a lot of attention. I gotta say, like, it's gotten me some conversations and people DMing me, and even behind the scenes stuff. Like on all the casting websites now, they want you to put your social media handle. So when I reach out to casting directors, when I audition, there's a high chance that they're going to look at my Instagram and just
Yeah.
see what I'm doing. And so I'm learning more and more, like, how important that is, and also just having like a track record of the things that I do, so everyone can see it. The more followers you have, the more, not followers, but the more uh, 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 what am I trying to say? Like attention, I guess. Communication you have through social media is yeah, it goes a long way. Unfortunately, but fortunately.
There's always pros and cons to it. And like I didn't think people actually I kind of knew when I first got my first manager years ago, I knew that it was a big thing, but it didn't really hit me until a couple weeks ago. One of my agents, they was like, "Hey, can you send me your Instagram?" I'm like, "Okay." I have it on Cast Network, and they was like, "Oh yeah, the client, I think it was Adidas. They wanted to see your social media to see how you look and whatever." So I'm like, okay, this reaffirms the belief they actually look at your profiles. Like we think that we often feel like, okay, maybe they do, maybe they don't. But then when you actually get confirming beliefs that yes, they are checking it, it does play a big factor. And one of the reasons why I asked you that is, I remember when I first met my first agent, Chris in LA. He told me a story of how one of his actors was running for, I think it was Marvelous Miss Maisel. I know it's off air now, New York show, and they were, I think, top two choices. So social media came into play. Lo and behold, smoking the joint didn't get the role. So it's it sucks because in one hand you want to have your own personal Instagram and do whatever you want, but also too, like you said, Disney, Marvel, all of these big companies, they're looking at you like, hey, if you drink a beer like Stone Cold every Tuesday, I don't know if you'd be right for this family friendly sitcom. So it's pros and cons to it, but I do think social media has been more helpful because now more actors are able to market themselves. Whereas before, unless you knew somebody who could get you in a room with somebody else, you're gonna have to do the hard work for many, many years. And some people
Yeah.
has been able to shortcut it, some people not, but at least it's given us a fair shake in the industry. Do you agree with that, or do you think it's it's just the name of the game? Is going to change another 10 years from now? Maybe they'll kind of leave social media alone. It was just a trial error.
No, I think it'll be around for a while. I can't imagine anything replacing social media. It's just, I mean, it's already replaced, mainstream media. Like it's where we get our news. It's where we get most all our information now. So, and yeah, I think headshots go a long way. You got to have good headshots, but I do see more and more casting directors and agents wanting to see you. Like, what do you do on a daily basis? Like, how do you look on a regular basis? Like, let me just pop up their Instagram real quick. So yeah, it's a really good, useful tool. I had to make the switch because I was just kind of enjoying it for personal use, but now it's like strictly, I have to think, okay, how does this look for my career every time I post now, which I don't really mind. If I need a personal account, I can make one. But yeah, it goes a long way.
Yeah, me personally, I always just said I don't want people in my personal life anyway. And if I do have a personal one, would I still post? Because everybody's going to see it at some point, and eventually, when you get a big enough star, they're going to find the other one anyway. So if you on there,
well, that's the thing. It is like not to say I've landed the next Marvel blockbuster, but the more attention we get, the more our careers grow. It is nice to be more private, I've learned, because there's a lot of people in the industry. Well, just the industry as a whole, I like to really distance my personal life from. So showing them what I want to show them, and then keeping the other stuff private. I'm dating an actor. We've been dating him for a long time, and so we keep a lot of things private. What we post, just personal preference, So yeah, it is nice to stay private on some things.
Yeah, and it also helps too, because unfortunately, when you have a public platform, like for me, I've talked about so many things on this podcast, and some things route people the wrong way. Hey, I'm gonna call your agent, and some of them they've emailed them, and it's just like, damn, I can't even talk about nothing. So
really,
I'll tell you off camera what happened. Nothing too crazy, but it's when you allow people to make decisions on you, then especially in this industry, all we have is our self representation. So if people have an idea that you're a Trump supporter, or you all you do is drink beer and smoke weed, that's how they look at you. They don't look at you in multiple facets, right?
Which is really unfortunate. Yeah. But
it's like casting.
But podcasts are. I mean, I feel like a podcast are a really unique thing because like the more people watch and listen to you, that they get, you're talking a lot, you're giving your voice. Like that's a very authentic way of showcasing yourself. And I've always been really drawn to podcasts because I feel like, you can get more personal. You can really get into the weeds of like who you are versus just looking at a picture of like a fun, event or vacation you were on. I think it's a really cool avenue. I really hope podcasts can continue to grow because I think it's a much safer way for us to get information. Yeah.
I mean, podcasting is definitely up on up, but I was talking to a publicist, one of my I consider him a good friend now, Steven. I've had him on the show a couple times, and he's told me how, think about this. 10 years ago, Denzel, Michael B. Jordan, Chadwick Boseman, all that, Robert Downey Jr., all of them were on the late night shows with Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon. We're seeing The Rock doing podcasts with people who, they have a good amount of following, but they're nowhere near the stature of a Jimmy Fallon. We're seeing more artists, more actors, and famous celebrities coming on podcasts, and I think it just depends on how you market yourself, really, because if you come across as a guy who's a gotcha guy, where it's like you coming on, let's say you have a project with, Corsese, and I try to get you to say something stupid, get you in trouble. Will you come back on? No. So
Right.
as long as you market yourself right, I think podcast is like the new wave because more people don't have cable, especially our generation and younger. We don't have cable. We use YouTube for everything. We have Spotify, so it's just a natural progression. I'll be curious to see how far it can go. But enough about me. This is about you.
I
Before we
love
get
it.
to before we get to the fun stuff, let me ask you, AI. I'm in talks with a new agent right now, and he's been open about using AI. He's talking to SAG and stuff. He had an article done about it. Um, People are being honest about, hey, I'm using AI for my agency. I'm using AI for commercial work or acting work. I'm using AI to help me with auditions. Um, how do you feel about that? Because me personally, I haven't really explored AI aside from, hey, can you search this? I haven't really gotten into the actual creation aspect of it. Do you think it's a dangerous slope that we're going to run into with AI?
Uh, what even is dangerous anymore? I don't know. I mean, I use it a lot. I've kind of just replaced my Googling with. I know Google's integrated with AI now too, but I like ChatGPT. I like Grok. Yeah, I use it for my any questions I have, like research I need to do. Instantly, we'll use AI. I've actually made my own prompts for like ChatGPT. If I'm using it for crafting, like for a character, I'll say like, don't how did I put it? Don't direct me. Don't give me suggestions unless I ask. Just kind of give me black and white, like what if I'm missing something. Like I'll ask a question about the writer or like a specific scene or just things to help me kind of determine for myself what the character is like and what information I need to know in order to really develop the character myself. So it depends on the individual. I'm not saying I have the best way of using it. I do think for myself, I think keeping my version of the character, not an AI version of the character. I don't want to rely on it too much because I feel like what are you doing at that point? Um,
Yeah.
your individual artistic choices, I think, are the strongest. So I don't want to rely on a computing or AI software to make those decisions for me, but I will 100% use it as a tool to help me form my own decisions. But yeah, it's tough. Like I know, you read all this stuff, the more you rely on AI, you lose cognitive function. And I'm like, and I listen to all that. Like I don't, it terrifies the hell out of me. So I want to make sure that I'm not using it too much. I think you just have to be smart. It's like anything. It's like a drug, Like it's using it in moderation and not using it for selfish or unhealthy purposes. I think personally.
I don't have high hopes for that because I already. I mean, you already have colleges complaining that students are all using Chat GPT to write.
Oh, I'm so glad I'm not in school. That's a whole nother thing. I cannot imagine what those professors are dealing with. I'm so glad I got out of school, keeping my cognitive function and before shit hits the fan because that's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
All
it's
they're
it's
doing.
freaking it's freaking nuts, bro. Like it, and it's not even just that too. It's the industry because I know this. Over the last couple of years, I remember I did an episode about this where there's been a big pushback with SAG and the industry on AI because people are afraid their likeness could be duplicated and used forever, and
Yeah.
it'll impact people's pay because now. Oh, I don't need to pay you as much when I have AI. It's a whole slippery slope that we could go down to. But let's get to the fun stuff. The corporate talk is over. Let's get into the fun stuff. So let me ask you, if you could pick, and it don't have to be a list, but 2 directors and 2 actors that you will want to work with.
Oh man, 2 directors. I mean, I gotta go with the greats. I would love to work with Christopher Nolan. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of like someone who deserves more attention, but no, I just love his work. I think he's like one of the best artists that we know today. And then there's so many. I don't know. There's so many directors I would be floored to work with, but actors. I'm particular. I kind of go after people that I see myself in, or like the track record that their career went. John Bernthal. I really like John Bernthal's work. Cillian Murphy. I'd love to work with him.
Underrated.
Yeah, Tom Hardy for sure. Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah, I mean, these are all pretty young guys. I mean, as far as like people that I really admire and look up to, Meryl Streep, and obviously Denzel's, Jamie Foxx. I just gave you 10. So yeah, any of those. But yeah, I've been on a John Bernthal. I'm a big fan of his, especially recently. Just all the things he's doing. I just really am drawn to his crafting and what he does behind the camera.
Yeah, he's an amazing talent. I would say he's underrated, but I don't know if I would, just because that dude, everybody knows him at this point. If he wasn't a household name, I'd be like, yeah, he's underrated. But I can't wait to see him in Spider-Man. That's gonna be a good one. Now,
Oh yeah, forget he's gonna be in the Spider-Man.
yeah, rumor Tobey Maguire might be coming back too for that. So
Oh snap!
You know, Marvel cooking. It's gonna be interesting.
About time.
I know. No. Speaking of which, if you could be in any Marvel movie, what would it be?
Gambit. I want to be Gambit in X-Men.
You think you do better than
Channing Tatum? Absolutely, man. Come on. He looks like a. No, I'm not gonna say that. No, he's beautiful. He's a beautiful man. But I don't know. I mean, I got the long hair. Like I got what it takes, man. That's it's one of my favorite characters, and I would be happy to play him or Cyclops. But I really like Gambit. Yeah, their casting is coming out for that series or movie. I don't know if it's going to be a movie or series next year. And someone told me that they're looking for like not really A-list celebrities. They're looking for some new, not as known faces. So I'm really going to vouch for that. I really would love to have that audition. So yeah, we'll see.
I can see Gambit. I can see Cyclops. I feel like, I'm thinking about James Marsden. I feel like you might have to do a little bit of cutting the hair and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I think
I don't want to cut my hair. I don't want to cut my hair. Give me a role where I don't have to cut it.
Me neither. I'm keeping this bad boy. Screw that.
I love it.
Now, everybody on the show, they always say, "Hey, I had a good time." This is one of the greatest podcasts I've ever been on. I appreciate it. But there's one thing they don't like, and it's called the hot seat, because the hot seat is not something that it's not for the faint of heart. Everybody's going to have to do it when they come on the show. It's a rite of passage at this point. So, are you ready for the hot seat, Nate?
Oh yeah, I'm born ready. Hit me with it.
All right, let's do this. So, first up, Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise?
Well, I gotta say, I enjoy Brad Pitt's movies a lot more, but I am partial to just Tom Cruise. I have a lot of respect because he does all his own stunts. I know Brad Pitt also does a lot of his own stunts too, though. So, that's tough. Yeah, I'll go with Tom Cruise.
All right, Brad Pitt. Oh, no, not Brad Pitt. Sorry, Christian Bale or Robert Downey Jr.
Ooh, Christian Bale.
Christian Bale or Hugh Jackman?
Oh man, Christian Bale.
Bruce Willis or Mel Gibson?
Mel Gibson.
Jake Gyllenhaal or Ryan Gosling?
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jim Carrey or Robin Williams?
Oh my God, Robin Williams. That's
Yeah,
tough.
that's a good one. Okay, how about this? Samuel L. Jackson or Morgan Freeman?
Oh, how can you pick between those? Morgan Freeman.
Idris Elba or Michael B. Jordan?
Idris Elba.
Okay, couple more. Leonardo DiCaprio or Tom Hanks?
DiCaprio.
DiCaprio. Let's do Matt Damon or Ben Affleck, the buddies.
Matt Damon. Matt Damon all the way.
Ooh, start trouble. All right, that's fair. That's fair. All right, Al Pacino or Robert De Niro?
Man. De Niro.
Russell Crowe or Harrison Ford?
Russell Crowe.
Keanu Reeves or Liam Neeson?
Keanu Reeves.
Anthony Hopkins or Sean Connery?
Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins, and for the final choice, because these are two of the biggest legends of all time, Denzel Washington or Will Smith?
Denzel all the way. Not even close.
That's it. That's the podcast. We're done. We're wrapped. Let's
I love it. I love it. That didn't feel hot at all, but that was yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
you did a good. You're probably the smoothest one to ever do it. Like most people, they got to think. It's a hard choice. They got to elaborate. You kind of just right, bam, 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 bam. So next time I'm gonna have to come a little stronger. I'm gonna have to make it spicier. But I know you got to go, man. I won't keep you too much longer. It's been a pleasure having you on. I know, like you said, you're working on some stuff for your art. Acting is always something showing up. So what do you have going on lately? What's coming up on the schedule?
I am in the middle of working on a Western short film. We're set to film early next year, 2026. It's a psychological thriller. I play the bad guy, the outlaw, taking my family land back. Really excited for this. It's going to be a good one. We're going to be in a lot of different film festivals, so be on the lookout. Probably going to be called Bloodlines. You can follow me on Instagram to be more up to date with that. Really excited for that. And I'm painting murals, whenever I can. So painting one right now in the gym, Bruce Lee. And I stay busy with that. So yeah, be on the lookout for the Western film, and hopefully pretty soon you'll see me on the screen.
Hey man, I'm a card magician, so if I see you throw that card like Gambit,
Yeah. Let's put that out in the universe. Anyone wants to see me as Gambit, let's love to have that opportunity.
So if Sarah Finn, Kevin Feige, all of the Marvel people were watching this right now, if you had to do a pitch for them, it don't have to be something long, but why do you feel like you're right for them? If they would listen to us, what would you say?
Understand the character. I mean, I grew up reading those comics and watching the X-Men '97, and yeah, I'll bring authenticity to the role, and I got the grit, I got the charisma of who Gambit is. I'm really passionate about the character in general, so yeah, I would love to do it justice.
That's what I'm talking about. Nate, it's been a pleasure. I could ask you more questions, but like we all know, I know Tom Cruise got the jet waiting for me, so I should probably wrap this up soon.
Right.
But all seriousness, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. I know you had a busy day, got a busy day going on. So Where can I know you plug the movie and stuff, but where can people find your artwork, find you on social media, all that good stuff for people to connect with you as well?
Sure. My Instagram is Nate J Mays. That's Mayes. Nate J Mays. That's my personal account, and then you can also find me. It's in my bio on that one. Murals by Mays is my artist account. Feel free to hit me up on either one or both.
That's what I'm talking about, Nate. You the man. You know, like I always say, a helping hand is a better hand. This may not be Bob Ross, but he know how to paint the canvas, and now I know how to end the show. Thank you guys for tuning into another episode, and we'll catch you in the next one. Get that paintbrush, get those cameras rolling, because me and Nate, we're taking over Hollywood, and that's the bottom line, because the most charismatic man says so.